It was just another chilly autumn afternoon when the camera catches a crowded street corner. Yellow leaves tumbled from the trees, the sound of traffic filling the air. Then right there on the screen, you see it. Two little girls, no older than 8, standing side by side in worn-out sweaters, clutching each other's hands so tightly their knuckles are white. They're staring at a bus across the road, not with excitement like kids heading for a trip, but with eyes wide and shimmering with terror. They point at it, their lips trembling, and take a small step back. You can almost feel their fear seeping through the screen. And just as the viewer's curiosity peaks, a man walks into the frame. He's tall, carrying a worn backpack over one shoulder, the lines on his face telling stories of both hardship and quiet strength. This is Daniel, a single dad on his way home from picking up his own daughter from school. What happened next, no one on that street could have predicted. And trust me, what you're about to hear will stay with you for a long time. Stick with this until the end, and if it touches your heart even a little, like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this deserve to be told. Daniel had noticed them from a distance. Something about the way the twins were holding each other seemed off. Their clothes were too thin for the weather, their faces pale. The bus they were looking at had its doors open, the driver leaning out, calling to them. But instead of running toward it, the girls seemed frozen. His instincts, the same ones that had kept him fiercely protective of his own daughter after his wife left, kicked in. He knelt down beside them, lowering his voice to something warm, steady. "Hey, are you okay?" One of the girls shook her head, eyes darting to the driver. The other whispered so softly he almost missed it, We can't go. He scares us." Those words hit Daniel like a punch. The bus driver was glaring over at them now, his expression hard. Something in Daniel's gut told him this wasn't just shyness. Without another word, he stepped in front of the girls, shielding them from view. "They're not going anywhere," he told the man. The driver's jaw tightened before he muttered something under his breath and slammed the bus door shut. The vehicle pulled away with a hiss of exhaust, disappearing into traffic. But the girls didn't relax. They were still shaking. Daniel crouched back down. "Where's your mom or dad?" he asked. Silence. Then, almost in unison, the girls whispered, "Gone." Daniel's chest tightened. He glanced at the street around them, searching for anyone who might be looking for them, but there was no one. Just strangers hurrying past, eyes averted. He realized then that if he walked away, they'd be left alone in this chaos, and he couldn't live with that. So he reached out a hand. "My name's Daniel. My daughter's just around the corner. We can go get her, and we'll figure out what to do. You're safe now. I promise." At first, they hesitated. Then the smaller twin stepped forward, taking his hand. The other followed, clinging to her sister. They walked toward the school where Daniel's daughter, Lily, was waiting. The moment Lily saw the twins, she ran up and introduced herself like she'd known them forever. Kids have a way of sensing what others need, and Lily's smile seemed to loosen some of the fear in their eyes. Over the next hour, sitting at a little cafe nearby, the truth spilled out in pieces. Their names were Emma and Ellie. Their mom had been gone for months, leaving them with an uncle who drank too much and yelled even more. That morning, he'd told them to get on the bus to somewhere without explaining where they'd end up. They didn't know if they'd ever see home again, not that home felt safe anymore. By the time they finished their story, Daniel knew exactly what he had to do. It wasn't easy. Calls had to be made to the police, to child services. There were forms, questions, a lot of waiting. But Daniel didn't leave their side. He stayed with them through it all, letting them sit with Lily, sharing hot chocolate and drawing little doodles on napkins to pass the time. He didn't realize it then, but those small moments of kindness were sewing something together in their hearts, something they thought they'd lost forever: trust. Weeks passed. Daniel kept checking in, visiting them in the temporary foster home they'd been placed in. Every time he showed up, their faces lit up like it was Christmas morning. Eventually, the court decided their uncle was unfit for guardianship. That's when the most unexpected thing happened. Daniel applied to foster them himself. People told him it would be too much, a single dad already raising his own child, taking on two more. But Daniel didn't see it as too much. He saw it as a second chance, both for the girls and for himself. The day Emma and Ellie moved in was a quiet one. No big speeches, no balloons. Just a small apartment, 3 beds squeezed into 2 rooms, and the smell of Lily's favorite spaghetti sauce bubbling on the stove. But as the girls unpacked their few belongings, Daniel noticed something different in their posture, less fear, more hope. That night, when he checked on them, the twins were asleep side by side, holding hands, but this time, it wasn't out of fear. It was comfort. Months later, they all found themselves back at that same street corner, waiting for the school bus. The girls didn't shake anymore. They laughed with Lily, pointing out silly shapes in the clouds. And in that moment, Daniel realized something: saving someone's life doesn't always look like heroics in the movies. Sometimes, it's just stepping in when you see fear in someone's eyes and refusing to walk away. If this story has touched your heart, don't just let it pass by. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it, because kindness like Daniel's can change more than one life. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be the reason someone else finds their way home. The wind was sharper now, carrying the smell of rain as Daniel hurried down the sidewalk. He'd just finished a shift at the garage and was on his way to pick up Lily from school. His jacket was thin, but he barely noticed the cold anymore. Years of working long hours as a single dad had made him used to discomfort. What he wasn't used to, though, was the sight unfolding in front of him. 2 little girls stood alone at the corner. Identical in face but slightly different in posture, one stood protectively in front of the other, her small body tense, while the other clutched her sister's sleeve like it was a lifeline. They were pointing at the bus across the street, its engine rumbling, but their faces were pale, eyes darting between the vehicle and the people around them. Daniel slowed down, frowning. The bus driver leaned out of the open door. "Come on, you two. Let's go." His tone was sharp, impatient, not gentle. The girls flinched. The smaller one pressed herself further behind her sister. Daniel's steps quickened. "Hey," he said softly as he approached, lowering himself so he wasn't towering over them. "You okay? Where's your mom or dad?" The older twins' lips trembled. We can't go," she whispered, barely loud enough to hear. "We don't want to go." The bus driver's gaze shifted to Daniel, irritation flashing in his eyes. "They're fine. They're just being difficult. Their uncle said to put them on." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Uncle?" The smaller twin shook her head quickly. He yells, throws things. Please don't make us go." That was all Daniel needed to hear. He stepped in front of the girls, planting himself firmly between them and the bus. "They're not getting on." The driver's glare deepened. "Look, man, I've got a schedule." "Then keep it," Daniel cut in, voice low but firm. "Without them." For a moment, the driver looked ready to argue. But something in Daniel's eyes must have made him think twice. He muttered under his breath, slammed the bus door, and pulled away with a blast of exhaust. The sound made the girls flinch again. Daniel turned back to them. "You're safe now," he said gently. "What are your names?" "Emma," said the older twin. "She's Ellie." "Well, Emma and Ellie, my name's Daniel. My daughter's name is Lily. She's about your age. She's waiting for me right now. You want to come with me and get warm?" The hesitation was visible. Trust was not something they could give easily anymore. But Emma's grip on Ellie's hand loosened slightly, and she gave the tiniest nod. They walked together to Lily's school, Daniel keeping himself between them and the crowd. When Lily spotted him, she came running, her dark hair flying, a big grin on her face. "Dad!" Then she saw the twins. "Hi. I'm Lily. Are you gonna walk home with us?" Daniel glanced at the twins. Emma shrugged faintly. "I guess so," she murmured. At a small cafe nearby, the story began to unfold in halting words. Their mother had disappeared months ago. Their uncle had taken them in, but he was angry more often than not. This morning, without warning, he'd shoved them toward the bus and told them they were going somewhere else. They didn't know where, only that they didn't want to go. Daniel's hands